Trigger warning. Mr. Dapperton videos may offend the easily offended. You have been warned.
My balls! I don't want my balls sticking to my legs!
I mean, yeah, having balls sticking to your legs sucks. Are you saying that we should have to deal with balls sticking to our legs while we're on a long bus ride? You fucking jerk. Oh my god, did you see how many feelings they hurt? Watch it again. Actually, I don't see the problem. Who is this hurting? Who is this hurting at all?
Manspreading is when a man spreads his physical body to take up as much space as humanly possible.
Okay, so these two cases are what they consider manspreading, and in both cases, they're not that bad, but they're bitching. I mean, look at this. I mean, the guys are just making room for their junk. That's all they're doing. They're not hurting anybody. They're just making sure that they're not uncomfortable. It seems perfectly reasonable. They're not taking up too much space. They're taking up just the right amount of space. Yet these social justice warriors are saying this is manspreading and this is unacceptable.
People around you are relegated to a very small portion.
Okay, I've never seen anybody, quote unquote, manspread this bad in my entire freaking life. Something tells me that this is a setup. But even if it isn't, who cares? There's extreme cases of everything. Just because one guy manspreads like an idiot doesn't mean everybody who makes room for their nuts are fucking bad. Something tells me that Buzzfeed is sexist because I don't see Buzzfeed making a video about women taking up seats using their purses. No, instead they're just focusing their efforts on victimizing men, specifically men, and they call themselves a non-sexist network, when they are in fact probably one of the most sexist networks there is.
But the key to manspreading is not noticing.
It's funny, you never win a day with balls, but here you are judging us like you know our pain.
We grow up on two different tracks. People who manspread just are socialized not to worry about it.
It's a free fucking country, bitch. If he wants to fucking manspread, let him manspread. It's not like he's hurting anybody. I mean, look at the footage again. He's just manspreading in his own seat. So who cares? It's not like he's taking up anybody else's seat. He's not hurting you. So what's your problem? Oh, I know what your problem is. First world problems. You have nothing to bitch about, so you have to bitch about non-important things.
I have so many vivid memories as a child of my mum telling me to close my legs.
Because she doesn't like the smell of fish tacos.
With gender, we're constantly working towards trying to get to this middle.
This week of manspreading is definitely going to make me feel anxious. As much as a super strong feminist, I want to say it won't.
Strong and feminist do not go together. These people want to illegalize hurting people's feelings. Matter of fact, they want to illegalize everything that they don't agree with. These people are the opposite of strong.
I kind of secretly hope to annoy some men.
We know that because you're a man-hating dyke.
That's my first train trip as a manspreader. I just feel like a monster already. How can you do this every day without being conscious of it?
I just manspread on the bus for maybe a 5-minute ride for the first time, and it wasn't even half full, and I was already getting glared at, so I think this is going to be a kind of long week.
Look at that. You try to manspread your hardest, and just like most men, you stayed in your own seat. I still don't see how this is a problem. Who cares if you take up your full seat? It's your own seat. Who cares? Again, it's not like women who use purses and take up 2 seats. Unlike that, this isn't a real issue. And if you're wondering why people were staring at you, well, it's obvious. Because you look like a girl, but you're making room for testicles and a meaty dick. They're just thinking that you're a woman that's packing. That's what's going on.
It's day 2 of manspreading, and I forgot that I had to do this.
Ah, spreading again, and you stay in your own seat, just like men do. I don't see the problem.
I think whenever a woman takes up space, she's considered bossy, she's considered aggressive. There are a lot of stereotypes surrounding black women and whether or not we're angry or we're dominant. And so maybe a lot of the reasons why I do minimalize my presence is because I don't want to be perceived or engage with those stereotypes.
I just got my nails done, and I manspread during my entire manicure, and nobody really seemed to notice. I'm not sure if it was because it was all women and we were just all kind of in our own world or what, but it was kind of awesome.
Yeah, exactly. See, the world doesn't give a fuck. You social justice warriors are making an issue out of a non-issue. Nobody cares about this.
I'm halfway through the week and really not enjoying this experiment at all. I'm still giving my seat up to people who need it because, of course, I am. What is it between their legs that's so important that it requires 2 to 3 seats?
Number one, one's manhood is that important. Number two, manspreaders don't even take up 2 seats, and not even close to 3.
When there are kids, families, women, and elderly people standing up.
I mean, you guys filmed for a week, but you guys couldn't even find footage of this. Obviously, this isn't a real issue. It's something you're blatantly making up, obviously, or you would have at least some footage of it.
I saw a guy who was taking up 2 seats. When I sat down, I spread my legs out, which kind of pushed his leg into his own seat, and he turned to me and gave me a dirty look and said, "Seriously?"
I mean, you did start all this to cause problems, did you not? Don't you think maybe when you're trying to pursue problems, you maybe went too far? Think about it this way. When manspreaders manspread, they're doing it when there's nobody there. What you're doing is making space for yourself by pushing everybody else out of your way using your legs. That's completely different than opening up your legs when there's already space there.
Women are expected to be quiet, small, and almost invisible, whereas men can be these boisterous slobs, and it's all good.
Today,
Yes, there you go. People sleeping on a bus and taking up the entire damn seat. That's worth bitching about. But you don't bitch about that, do you? You bitch about something that makes men, all men, the bad guy. Something so small, something that's not even a real world issue, something that's not a problem at all, and you make it into a problem. Why? Because you want to make men the enemy.
instead of feeling the confidence that I've kind of been feeling the rest of the week, I started to feel a little guilty. While I was sitting there taking up 2 seats, a guy came up to sit next to me, and instead of moving over like I normally would, I kind of just had to sit there with my legs out, and instead of saying something to me, he just sat on the edge of the seat the entire time.
He probably thought you were rocking some fucking hardcore balls.
So I've come across another person, quote unquote, manspreading, but wait, they identify as female. Women can take up space as well?
Even though I'm a confident person, I tend to make myself small even when the situation doesn't call for it. And I kind of felt uncomfortable manspreading even though there was no one around me.
I've not enjoyed this week at all. The very first day where a group of people came on, they were going to a game and they were all desperate for a seat, and I was taking up 3 seats.
That's 2 seats, dumbass.
And they started talking about personal space. All their eyes were just on me, and they were mostly women. If it was a group of dudes, I would have been like, yeah.
I thought that manspreading would kind of give me this air of disregard because I thought that I worried too much about what people think, and I've realized that I worried just enough. You should be concerned with whether or not the people around you are comfortable, because that means you're a good community member.
Don't you forget, bitch. Balls created you. You should respect them. And you should want them nice and comfortable because they gave you life.
My favorite part of this exercise was easily when I got to sit next to men who were taking up way too much space and just forcefully work my way into the seat and without words say, hey, I deserve to sit here.
In none of those examples you gave did those men take up any more space than they needed to. It looks to me like you're being a bitch just for your little social experiment. Also, stop demanding space when you don't have balls, okay? That's like me requesting time off work for pregnancy even though I can't get pregnant. That shit don't fly. Maybe if you were actually rocking a pair of testicles, I would accept you doing this, but you're not, so I don't.
To be forced to manspread really showed me how up your own ass you have to be as a person to not be conscious of those around you.
You do realize there's real world problems you could be using this time to talk about, right? Like the starving kids in Africa. But no, instead you made a video about how manspreading is the problem of the world. Just realize that. Let that sink in. If you like this video, be sure to smash that motherfucking like button and motherfucking subscribe. Thank you. I got a treat for you. I now have Mr. Dapperton products on the market. And not just, oh, I got a shirt here or there. I got hundreds of products for you to check out. Wallets, pillows, Sweaters and shirts that start at $11. Watches, flasks, and shot glasses. You name it, I sell it. You'll find the link to the shop in the description box. Check it out.